Well, welcome back into the Mid-Norfolk Farm Garden, and this afternoon we're going to show you this quince tree that for the first time since it's been planted here, probably around 5 or 6 years ago, has really given me a good harvest. It's been absolutely covered this year with these beautifully developing quinces. Lovely to look at. I mean, it is a beautiful tree of quince. When I was doing a little bit of preparation for this video, I started thinking, why haven't I seen mature quince trees in gardens on our visits around some of the larger privately owned gardens, older orchards and National Trust properties? And it's not a tree you commonly see. And I haven't been able to find an answer to that. I don't know whether it's just a short-lived tree that doesn't form a mature, big, long-lived orchard specimen, or whether it's a new variety, relatively speaking, in the sort of age of gardens and orchards that we visit. The fruiting quince here flowers beautifully, and this was principally chosen when I saw a tree flowering in spring, because the blossom on these things is absolutely gorgeous. Large pinky white flowers, apple blossomy in nature really, but they're a thing of beauty in their own right as they come out in spring. And it's not a large tree. I've done absolutely no pruning on this at all over the years. I'm going to say it's been planted about 6 years, and this is the first time that it's really set a good quantity of fruit. Now it's only September, and although we're getting this beautiful yellow colour on these fruits, they will quite happily sit on this tree for hopefully another full month. We'll be not looking to actually harvest and bring these inside for probably another 4 weeks if we can. If you can leave them on the tree for any longer and they're not getting frosted, the recommendation where I've looked this up is to leave them until the latest possible dates that you can. But they'll probably tell you when they're ready to be harvested as they'll start dropping, and obviously if you're going to store these for any length of time, you don't want them to drop and bruise. So timing is everything in picking quinces. The big tip that we can give you is the aroma. They will darken in colour from this lemony yellow colour, which is so attractive at the moment, and they'll become darker and slightly orangey, but the big tip is the scent from them. At the moment, when I sniff these, they've got very little aroma at all, but by the time we get through into middle of October, they should be really heady with a really rich aroma, fruity, quincy smell, so characteristic of this fruit, and they won't soften at all. Making quinces edible is really quite a bit of a challenge, and I'm open to quite a few recipe ideas. I've started looking them up. If you've got one you'd like us to try with these quinces, then I'd be game to give it a go. They seem to have to be poached for quite a long time to make them palatable, because the fruit itself is quite fibrous, quite firm, doesn't soften at all even within storage, tends to rot before it will actually ripen to a soft edible fruit. So this is fruit that has to be cooked really, as opposed to eaten as you would with a dessert pear. But I must think we will probably pick, if these ripen well and we don't get a terrible storm or anything that's going to damage the plant, probably have 3 or 4. Now, in contrast to the quince tree that we've just shown you, this is the flowering quince, sown up and down the garden centres of the UK as a hardy perennial shrub, often grown as we've got it here against the side of a building, and it flowers beautifully. The variety of colours on these is from white through to deep red, and it will fruit, as you can see here. But look at the size of these compared to the edible quinces on the tree we've just shown you. Probably about a quarter of the size. Lovely colour. They're waxier in nature of these, and they've already got a bit of a scent on them. Yeah, these are starting to ripen up a little earlier than the others, maybe because they're in a sunny position against a wall. Now, we have cooked with these. They are edible, but getting them to an edible condition is really quite a challenge because they are so fibrous and hard. They're best used really as a scenting fruit in a house or a fruit bowl. They'll help other fruit ripen up, but they do give a beautiful scent to a room. And we've got plenty of these starting to fall, as you can see, coming down here onto the base of the border. There's quite a few of them to pick up. They're very attractive things. They tend to get this little russeting of pink blotchiness as they ripen up, and they smell divine. Absolutely beautiful, rich scent on them. So, two very different varieties of quince. One principally grown for the flower and the fruit purely as an ornamental or scent. And the tree, again, flowers are beautiful, different form, grown as a standard, and we're really looking forward to experimenting with that volume of fruit that we've got for this first time in 2022.